Hello guys, welcome back. Welcome to the final episode of the year. So this will be the last one for me this year and I'll be back next year. And I just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you to all of you that have taken the time to listen. Thank you to all of you that send me messages telling me what you take from the podcast. Thank you to all of you that tell me the impact the podcast has had on your lives. Thank you to all of you that share the perspective shifts that you've gained. Just thank you really from the bottom of my heart. When I started this, it was really just to help my clients each week. And then I decided to share it a bit wider. And I'm hoping that next year it just expands. And I'm hoping that the perspectives that I take to help people and support them with their relationship with food and the challenges that they experience with their body is something that just continue to grow and grow and grow and help more and more people. So every time you listen, every time you like a podcast, every time you give me feedback, really know from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate it so much. And I just want to share a little bit about my food journey on this podcast. And I want to share in the hope that it gives you some hope, really, that your relationship with food can change. And the reason why I want to share it this week is because actually a pivotal moment for me in my journey where I really recognised, or I recognise now that I really was struggling, was around Christmas time. And it was years and years and years ago. It was at a time when I was still married. And I remember it was just after Christmas. So it might have been Boxing Day. It might have been the day after Boxing Day. And it was a time when I didn't know it at the time, but I was so unhappy. And really, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I believe that food is the symptom and not the cause. And my clients will know that I say this all the time. Whether you're a person that severely controls your food or whether you're a person that consistently finds themselves overeating, it is the symptom and not the cause. And I'm not talking to just occasional times. I'm talking to when it's a consistent pattern. I'm talking to when you are using it to fill a void. And the reason why I know this so intimately and the reason why I'm able to help people through this and recognize it is because I've lived and experienced it myself. Now, the time that I'm speaking to was just after Christmas, and we had a house full of Christmas foods. And I remember I'd indulged over the Christmas period, and I don't remember how I felt around that time, but I can imagine that I didn't feel very comfortable with the way that I'd indulged over the Christmas period. And it could only have been Boxing Day or the day after that, but I made the decision that I was going to throw every single piece of Christmas food in the bin, all of it. I threw the chocolates, I threw the cheese, I threw every single bit of food that I deemed at that time as a bad food, that would tempt me, that would not allow me to be good. I threw it all in the bin. Now, first thing that comes to mind now is I'm like, whoa, what a horrific waste. But at the time, I didn't even think of that. All I thought about was that I could not trust myself to have these foods in the house and to be able to operate in a way that I wanted to. So I just threw all of them in the bin. Now, of course, that didn't actually help because these foods are everywhere and food wasn't even the issue. And that was my point, and that is my point, and that is my point for you. It was not about the food. It was not about the having the food in the house or not having the food in the house. The deeper meaning of this was the lack of trust that I had in myself and the absolute unhappiness that I was feeling, and the way that I was using food to control, as a means of control, because I felt so unhappy. I felt so unhappy, and I wasn't even aware that I was unhappy. I was unhappy with the decisions that I've made in my life. I was unhappy with the direction that my life was going. I was unhappy in my marriage at the time. And this is absolutely no shade to my ex-husband. We have a wonderful co-parenting relationship. He is an amazing father. But at the time, I was so unhappy, and my only means of control really was food. The only area that I felt that I could have some kind of input to go the way I wanted it to go was food. And I see this so often in the people that I get to support, the people that I have got to support throughout this year, the people that are struggling with food. 9 times out of 10, it is not a food problem. Food is the symptom. And it's our way of venting, and it's our way of filling a void for something internally that we are feeling. So in my case, it was mass unhappiness with life. I felt purposeless. I didn't feel happy in my marriage. And these are big things to sit with. It's actually far easier for me to control my food than face the fact that I'm really unhappy in my life. Far easier. And that is the truth for so many people. It's far easier for us to try and control our weight or blame our body or spiral out with food than really sit with the reality of the true things that we are struggling with. Be it anxiety, be it overwhelm, be it a lack of purpose, be it for relationships, be it friendships, whatever fundamentally we are feeling unhappy with, be it that we feel a sense of purposelessness in life, whatever it may be it that we don't know how to handle certain emotions. We can't sit with anger. We don't feel safe feeling anger. We don't feel safe feeling overwhelmed. We don't feel safe feeling anxiety. Whatever it may be, we can use food, because food is the most readily, socially acceptable, legal way for us to fill that void. Some people will do it with alcohol. Some people will do it with pornography. Some people will do it with gambling. Some people will do it with sex. People will do it. Human beings will get their needs met. And so we use these things as a way to fill a void within us, so that we can operate and so that we can feel okay. And we get so frustrated. And the reason why I say that I hope this offers you hope is because over my whole entire food journey and supporting other people, what I have realised is the best thing we can do is become radically honest with ourselves about what we are feeling internally. Now, for some of those, that will look like leaning on something far bigger than ourselves, but leaning inwards, getting quiet, taking personal responsibility about the things that are actually the challenges, and no longer using food as a way to fill that void. Now, Christmas is an extremely challenging time because it's like a socially acceptable binge time. So we have ramped up food noise. We have foods in abundance everywhere. In the office, we have different foods at home, we have in the supermarket. And many of us have grown up in a way of it's okay to binge at this time. It's okay to collectively overeat. It's okay to eat ourselves into such a space that then we head into January feeling so horrific that diet culture sweeps in. That's kind of the societal norm. But for lots of people, it won't be feeling good. It won't be feeling good. It won't be feeling aligned. And maybe you're starting to recognise a pattern in your behaviour and you're realising, actually, this really isn't about the food. And if that is you, then wonderful, because the first step to making any change is actually awareness. But there's a few things that I just want to just share and say, and just messages that I want to deliver that I hope help someone listening to this. So firstly, I want to use myself as proof that things can change. Like I said last week, I made some fundamental errors with my daughter when she was born in terms of how I approach food. And we have come a long way since then. I don't claim to be the finished article, but we have both come a long way since then. And I see that in her relationship with food, but I also see that in my own. At the point when I got radically honest with myself, and it's been a long journey, I've been able to heal my relationship with food. I've been able to find food freedom. I've been able to be honest about the places that I can tend to use food to fill a void. I've been able to develop a relationship with food that feels peaceful, that feels calm, that feels easeful. And then I've been able to support other people to do the same. And I've been able to support them to do the same with the recognition that it's not about the food. It's about something internally within you that needs your attention. Food is the point at which we are screaming at ourselves. Food is the thing that we use when we've just reached full capacity, especially when it's a repeated pattern. And so I want to give you hope that wherever you are in your journey and your relationship with food, whether you're at the place where you are severely over-restricting, whether you're at a place where you are over-consuming often, whether you're at a place where you are experiencing loud food noise, whether you're in a place where you are just feeling like you are out of control with food and food is controlling you, I want to give you hope and faith that it can change. Just because it's been your story up until now, it doesn't mean it has to be your story going forward. But the number one thing is awareness. Start to recognise your patterns. Start to get radically honest with yourself, what the deeper work might be that you need to do. Maybe you don't know that right now, but step one, that honesty and that awareness, that this is not about food is actually hugely helpful. Now, step 2, something that you can do to really help yourself is develop a regular pattern of eating. It is so, I will absolutely die on this hill. It is so important that we nourish ourselves consistently, that we show our body safety, we show our nervous system safety, that we're not erratic in our eating patterns, skipping breakfast, skipping lunch. It's so important for us physically to develop a rhythm of eating, because you're going to feel better for it physically and you'll feel a lot better for it mentally as well. Most people that try and be good or try and save calories for later in the day, they just end up in a complete mess, and they end up with loud food noise, and they end up over consuming in the evening, then restricting during the day, and you just exacerbate the pattern that you are trying to break. So it does not matter if you had a really extravagant evening, or you went out and you had a big event and you think, oh, I shouldn't have breakfast. Try not to fall into that pattern. Try and remind yourself that the rhythm of eating regularly, your body will thank you for. You are going to do better mentally if you fuel yourself. You're going to be able to emotionally regulate better if you are a well-fueled person. So try and adopt a rhythm and a pattern of eating breakfast, lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner. Show your body that it's safe, that food isn't sporadic. The third thing that I want to mention is find joy outside of food. And I urge you to do this, whether it's Christmas time or just in your life generally. When food is our only source of joy, it is very difficult to have a positive relationship with it, because we can find that we're using food just to feel something, just to feel good. And Christmas time can be so food focused, but Christmas time can be about so much more than food. Find joy in connecting with people. Find joy in moments alone. Find joy in appreciating the beauty of going on the walks at this time of year. Find joy in your children's faces if you have them. Find joy in your partner's face, in your friendships. Try and really expand your vision of what looks joyful for you outside of it just being food. That's actually going to help your relationship with food so much. I really love the term beauty hunting, and I do this with my clients often, and I do this personally myself, where we actively look for the beauty in each day. We look for the joy in each day. We look for the reasons to smile in each day. That is such a wonderful mindset to adopt, to expand your field of vision of what brings you joy, outside of it all just being around food, especially in a food focused holiday. The last one that I'm going to say, and this is a tall order, I know, but let's try not to lose ourselves at this time of year. It's so easy to literally go through December in a blur of busyness and not really be present, not really be in the moment. I literally have this tattooed on my arm, be where your feet are, as a reminder to myself that I need daily to just ground and be where we are. We only have this one precious life, and so many of us are literally living it on autopilot. We're rushing through the day, we're rushing to Christmas, we're rushing to New Year, we're rushing to the next event. We're not where we are. So anchor, use some anchors, a pause, a deep breath, a reflective moment, a walk outside, your breakfast, an evening moment of just reflection on the day. Whatever it is, use these anchors through the day to reconnect back to yourself. Wake up in the morning, and before you reach for your phone, just take a moment. These are things that they seem so small and they seem like they won't really have huge impact, but they have actually changed my life, and they have changed so many people's lives that I know. When we stop looking externally to be stimulated and validated and constantly just have an external focus on everything, and we start coming back to ourselves, and we start being insular, and we start being quiet, and we start listening. What's going on for me? We start pausing. We start being able to sit with ourselves. We start weaving moments of connection to ourselves into each day, not saving it for when we have annual leave or when we have a break from the kids, or actually weaving it into a lifestyle that we make. That is going to help our relationship with food so much. lots of our control around food, lots of our overconsumption around food is our desire and our inability to sit with discomfort. When we can expand our ability to sit with uncomfortable feelings and discomfort within ourselves, we then don't tend to try and fill that void as much. Now, Christmas is a hectically busy time where it's so easy to go through the month and just lose ourselves and have no connection. Then in January, when the diet culture appears to offer you control and restriction and let's sort your life out, it seems so appealing. But really, what I urge you to do this December is ground and breathe and be and enjoy and live now and be where your feet are and recognise and get radically honest about where you're avoiding yourself, about how you're using food. And this doesn't have to be a whole big body of work. This can be a couple of moments of reflection in the day. This can be just a couple of things that you anchor into, that you start to recognise, you know what, when I pause before breakfast, I actually feel better in the morning. When I wake up and I don't immediately reach for my phone, I feel a little bit more connected to myself. When I recognise that I'm eating when I feel overwhelmed, I'm starting to notice a pattern that I don't feel shame about. I'm able just to recognise as a pattern. When we start to do all of these things, this is the work that needs doing, or the kind of foundational work that needs doing in order to improve our relationship with food. A huge one over this month will be people pleasing. When we honour our no and we mean it, when we recognise that no is a full sentence, I don't need to give an excuse. I don't need to give some kind of reason. I don't need to lie. I can just say no and honour my no. So many of us will fall into a pattern of people pleasing. Then we will sip resentment and we will use food to fill that void of feeling that discomfort that we feel. In order to change our relationship with food, we don't need to change what we're eating 9 times out of 10. We need to change our relationship with ourselves, and we need to change the way we are operating and in relation to food. When we do that work, or even start that work, we can transform our relationship with food. I'm going to be doing so much more of this next year, and I'm really going to be speaking to the people that are struggling, the people that are falling into patterns with food, that aren't producing a joyful life and a peace and ease relationship with food. I'm going to be helping more people dig into the why behind their patterns with food and start to really understand what's going on for themselves. I'm going to be helping people that really have a tumultuous relationship with their bodies, where they feel like they are not on the same team and it's them on one side and their bodies on the other, and they just can't seem to find peace and harmony. I'm going to be helping these people way more and delving into this way deeper, because it's something not only that I've personally experienced, but I have been able to lead so many people into peaceful, easeful relationships with food through radical honesty about what was going on for them at the start. So I hope in that's been helpful. I hope I have offered you some hope that it can look completely different. I know when you're in the midst of this, it feels like it's going to go on like that forever. When you're in the midst of it, you feel like you will never get out of it. I speak to my clients always about the messy middle. The messy middle is when maybe we're aware of our patterns, but we haven't yet changed them. But the messy middle is where we really grow and we get stretched and we expand. And the other side of that is so much joy. So if you're in the messy middle, if you're not yet fully aware, but kind of becoming aware, if December is feeling loud, if the diet culture is actually giving you anxiety, if food is making you feel anxious and want to control, I urge you, weave in those small moments, anchor in those small moments of connection to yourself. Don't skip meals, stay eating regularly, and just breathe and have hope that this can look different. Maybe 2026 is the year where you get to stop speaking so much life into what you don't want and really start speaking life and embodying what you do want. Maybe it's the year that your relationship with food becomes peaceful, becomes easeful, and becomes everything that you allow yourself to imagine it could be. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, a fantastic new year, and I will be back next year, 2026.